feel something.
You feel it?
Yes, I feel it.
That's the Force.
Really?
Wow, it must be really strong
Oh,
with
I've
you.
never felt any... Ow!
Recently, I uploaded a video about Jar Jar acting like a Sith Lord, meant more or less serious as a joke based on the Darth Jar Jar fan theory, but the internet kept doing its thing, so seriously, what the heck, guys. Reading through the comments, besides serious guesses on how Jar Jar could really be unconsciously using the Force, I saw many people discussing that he can't be a Sith Lord because mind tricks and animal control are Jedi traits, claiming that Force abilities are only available for one side. And that made me think about the whole Star Wars Force topic for a moment, and I thought like...
That's not how the Force works.
But hang on. In Star Wars, the Force is explained as an invisible energy field which flows through and connects every piece of the galaxy.
The Force is not a power you have. It's not about lifting rocks. It's the energy between all things, a tension, a balance that binds the universe together.
When you want to understand the ways of the Force, you need to understand that the Force is not fully discovered and explored. Even though this futuristic galaxy features flying cars and hyperspace travel, the Force still remains something mystical. It's just not common knowledge, and most people even doubt its existence.
Kid, I've flown from one side of this galaxy to the other. I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything.
To visualize, that's maybe comparable to electricity in our world, where humans long thought that lightnings were created by raging gods, and when the first scientists experimented with electrical stuff, they were seen as magicians. At some time in the past in Star Wars, people must have found out that few of them are able to sense, interact and manipulate parts of this force field, and therefore also the elements that were bound together by it. They are force sensitive, and because it connects literally everything, it's possible to do literally everything with the Force. If you have the knowledge and training, of course. Oh yeah, and we also need to talk about this for a moment.
I've been wondering, what are Midi-Chlorians?
In the prequels, so the first 3 films, we get a more scientific explanation of the Force.
Life forms living together for mutual advantage. Without the Midi-Chlorians, life could not exist, and we would have no knowledge of the Force.
These parts of our cells are a connection or a receptor of the force field. The higher your Midi-Chlorian count, the better is your perception of the Force. Having a high count doesn't automatically mean you are more powerful, since the real strength comes from training and knowledge, but you have more superior genetic preconditions.
The reading is off the chart.
Even Master Yoda doesn't have a Midi-Chlorian count that high.
In the movies, we often hear about the bad dark and the good light side of the Force, but this is more a moral compass than a fixed assignment. The Force exists with all its phases, but it depends on how you use it. Comparable to nuclear science in our world, which is basically a neutral thing, but depending on how you handle it, it can be controlled for the greater good or unleashed as devastating weapons. Force users who use their powers to keep the peace and act selfless in order to help others are considered the idols of the light side. The Jedi, who are known for their strong personalities, found their strength on meditation and knowledge. The dark side is known to be addictive. Deep emotions originating from hatred and loss unchain immense but hard to handle forces. People compromised by the dark side only act in their own interest and don't care about others. And there we already are at the Force powers. With enough knowledge and practice, everybody can learn pretty much every Force ability. But depending on which approach you take and attitude you have, it's more or less effective and hard to learn. For example, we know that mind tricks only work on the weak-minded, and you yourself require a strong and balanced mind to perform it. So it's easier for a Jedi to learn this one because he already has the required strong personality and well means. The ability fits his way of the Force. A Sith, on the other hand, will have an easier shot on learning Force Lightning, for example, because this requires much temper and emotional power. Depending on their difficulty, Force abilities require much practice and knowledge. But you cannot simply say that some Force abilities are blocked just because you're on the wrong side of the Force. Oh guys, this video is already getting way too long and we haven't even talked about the Grey Jedi and the different phases of the Force yet. I'm definitely going to make another video on these. So here one last important thing. The Force constantly seeks balance. It distributes equally between Force users. So when Order 66 was executed, spoiler, there was a Force vacuum left at the bright side, leading to a pull to the light, commonly also felt as the will of the Force.
I feel it again. The pull to the light.
Unbalance also leads to more powerful heroes of one side who were able to learn Force abilities much faster than the numerous Jedi, on which the Force had to distribute before. Darth Bane, an ancient Sith, already realized this phenomenon and implemented the rule of two therefore, only allowing one master and one apprentice, so the dark side of the Force only had to distribute on as little people as possible. So that's also the reason Rey and Luke were able to master the ways of the Force and finish their training so much faster than previous Jedi, who needed years of practice.